It is the Riot podcast on, well, wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm used to saying on RadioU. You may be listening at RadioU.com. I don't know.
You still are. And the RadioU part's very important for why this week's podcast has been a bit shorter. We are fundraising for RadioU. We're the Riot on RadioU, and this is our podcast of our show. So if you have not realized that, this podcast is not exactly free to get out to everybody, but you love it and you'll enjoy listening to it, consider donating something for our RadioU fundraiser. That helps make this podcast a possibility by going to RadioU.com. And then when you're in the comments section, in the bottom part of the comments, put, hey, I'm a podcast listener. You have to put, hey. And then you're good to go and you're supporting and you're helping. We wrap up our fundraiser on Friday, and then the podcast will be back to normal on Monday.
So, Isaiah, what's in the show today?
Well, we talked about what I think has happened. Hasn't it?
It's still waiting.
It's still waiting.
Yeah. Look at this.
I was just looking up to find and see.
You see?
When we're recording this podcast intro.
Can you see through my
I hope nothing happens.
I know.
Be bad.
For that, but the Blue Origin, the William Shatner going into close to space but not to space, and they're not astronauts despite what they're telling you.
It will.
It's soon. It's like
it
30
will be
minutes.
Done by the time the podcast is released.
Yeah.
But as we're recording this, we are watching.
We're still waiting.
So I guess if something does go wrong, you'll never hear this.
Is it jealousy or is it pettiness? Because they kept going astronauts. And we're like,
Yeah.
you're not an astronaut.
You're not an astronaut,
I don't know,
okay?
just
Stop acting like it.
I just think accuracy is important.
Now, it could be the other people. I don't remember. They're only focusing on everything I've seen on William Shatner.
Yeah.
Maybe the other people in the craft are
Well, one
astronauts
is
in the past. I'm not sure.
Dr. Chris Boosteisen.
Not an astronaut.
How do you know? He might be.
He's not an
He
astronaut.
might.
You feel
Glenn
it?
DeVries.
Definitely not.
And Audrey Powers.
Because if they would,
know what?
you'd always
Audrey
say
Powers might be. That's a cool
astronaut.
last name.
It is. I keep thinking of Austin Powers, but if they were real astronauts, then they would already have gone to space, or they'd be doing something with NASA. They wouldn't need Blue Origin to get involved.
I don't know. I met a real astronaut once.
You
It's this
did?
really older guy.
Uh-huh.
He's been on a ton of flights.
Yeah.
He is so humble. That's when you know you've met a real astronaut.
Uh-huh.
They don't go
'Cause
talking
it's not
about
a big
it.
deal.
But when you're at a party with them, the
Oh, yeah.
stories that they tell,
I bet.
you're just like, whoa, you're a real person right there. You're amazing.
Good luck outshining
Yeah?
astronaut
Yeah.
I spent
person
one
at a
Christmas
party.
party with this guy, and again, he was really older. I was just like, dude, I don't care about space, but even this is amazing.
You're
here.
outshining me, all right? This is the last time you're invited to the party.
Hey,
If you're just going to tell these awesome stories the whole time.
I'm a radio host. I need attention.
Hey, it was actually his side of his family having the party, so I knew better than to interrupt. But again, especially the older astronauts, there's a humbleness about them that we don't understand.
Yeah.
If I was an astronaut,
I'd be telling everybody.
you would never hear the end of it. We talked about that. We also talked about if you're excited for Christmas time, there's going to be a movie that you may or may not be excited for a little.
Well, I like to think of this coming segment as Hudson and Isaiah hate. So let's see how much they hate on this.
Isaiah hated everything. Yeah.
Did you call it trash?
I said it's trash.
You did.
100%. See,
That's just a big
I'm
word.
trying to be charitable to it.
I just
I was
don't
hopeful at first.
See, Christmas is such a tradition type thing, and I don't really like new at Christmas.
That's what people
Outside of
said when the
toys
first
and
Home
Do
presents.
you
Alone
like
came out.
new anytime?
I like new sometimes.
Do you? I don't think you
Sometimes.
do.
Well, not like new food.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think you like anything.
Or new Christmas tradition. I just want the Grinch to be on and for me to watch Elf and just
You
do all
probably
the
only
things I
like
do
the
every year.
animated Grinch. You don't even like the Jim Carrey.
No,
Grinch.
Jim Carrey Grinch is my favorite Christmas
Oh, it
movie of all
is?
time.
All right.
Well, then maybe that is laying the groundwork for possibly liking the new Home Alone movie.
I don't know.
That was a sequel or
well, just
a
stick
follow-up.
around for the podcast to hear us call things trash.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm
Like
a
every
lot-
other day.
I'm a lot less upset about Isaiah thinking the Home Alone new trailer is trash and more upset about the other things he said he hasn't seen, but he knows they're trash.
See, now
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
I did
That's-
look it up, and I may have seen that movie. I don't know. I don't recollect. You'll learn what movie it is when we get into it, but one of them I think
Well,
I
let's
have
mark this
seen.
down. When the fundraiser ends and we're back to our normal riot next week, I feel like we got to dive in a bit more to this, how long when they remake something, is it too long, has too much
Yes.
passed, that sort of thing, and what really is the heart of the better movies that we think you should watch instead of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive into good sequels and see how many are out there.
How many years have passed?
Yes.
Yeah, and how many years can pass before. I mean, I know for one that we talk about in the podcast, it's like 30. So
30 years between.
Wow.
Close to it anyway.
Are we at Dune also? And isn't that the one
is that a sequel though? See, now we have to define
Not, it's
between
just
sequel
remake, right?
and reboot and in the same universe, but not actually a sequel.
Yes.
You're right.
We have
And then-
to work on that.
And then we're going to start saying more trash. Like we have to just stop
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a whole chart and everything.
Of just
will.
trash and watchable.
And more trash.
Good.
Well, you'll also get some Worst of Riots in this. But thank you guys again for listening and supporting our podcast at RadioU.com and helping us keep this going, whatever this is.
All right, we'll catch you next
Bye.
time.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to The Riot, where you listen to us and that's it. It's pretty much a one-way street. The Riot. Radio U.
It's about to be
The lunch?
No,
The lunch?
launch.
I'm counting that one down too. Now we got the right countdown going.
We haven't even gotten breakfast yet.
Hey, we have.
We
We've
have?
eaten already. We have a pastry ring in
Go
there.
have more breakfast. There's still some in there.
But it doesn't mean we can't look forward to lunch. But
Yeah,
you
we
mean
can't still count. We
launch.
can still count it down.
Well,
Everybody wants to know if basically William Shatner will be going to space this morning.
he's supposed to be
or
in
close to space as a almost space
Well,
tourist.
Space-ish,
You know, it's fun. I like that you point that out because I haven't seen this before. But so as these millionaires and famous people and other people that we don't know of are going into what they call space on Blue Origin flights and SpaceX flights and Virgin Galactic flights, the FAA actually would not term them as astronauts.
Correct.
So they might go to space and maybe they can still get by on saying, well, I've been to space. But as far as the FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority goes, they determine space or being an astronaut as actually doing something in space besides just flying up there and looking around.
So not just sitting there.
So even though today, William Shatner, 90 years old, you know him as Captain Kirk, he will be going into space on a Blue Origin flight in about an hour.
Hey.
He will not be the oldest astronaut because John Glenn went to the space station, went on a space shuttle at the age of 77, and actually the FAA says he is an astronaut.
Okay.
He was an astronaut before, but
So
he's
what-
also an astronaut again.
Are they like tourists or like what are they if they're not astronauts? Do they have like a term
They're
for that?
Wealthy and famous.
Yes.
That's the term.
Yeesh. I guess I'll never know.
Yeah, I want to know.
It's like a close to space. I mean, they're right there on the curvature.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to space.
Hold up, y'all. Mm-hmm. We go through all that, and then on the Blue Origin website itself, looking at the webcast page, it says that today it will be carrying 4 astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
That's a
They are
stretch.
not astronauts. You rewrite your website right now. That is a lie.
Well, I like William Shatner, though. I mean, he, at 90, good for him to go up however far he can go up is perfectly fine. He said that he is comfortable, but also a bit uncomfortable. So I thought that was the greatest quote. You're like, I understand that.
He's worried about getting in and out of the seats.
Oh goodness! Yet he's going to space-ish, and he's worried about getting in and out of the
Well,
seats.
Yeah, but
That's his
a
main
real
concern.
Person. That's a real person, not an astronaut person.
You know,
Like,
if-
that's real.
If that's his worst concern too, I mean that's like pretty good. He's going
gonna
with like
have a
pretty
great
chill mindset.
time.
I'm concerned about getting in and out of seats on land. So
Let alone in space.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's real funny because when we last talked about William Shatner was planning on going up into space today, they mentioned, that would make him the oldest person at 90 to technically be doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that would replace Wally Funk from the previous Blue
Right.
Origin flight.
Right.
We went that whole break talking like that's a guy. It's not. It's a girl.
wait, you guys
What?
talked about, I don't
Mary,
remember that.
You and I talked about him.
Oh.
And we were like, no,
And
that's Mary Wallace Wally Funk.
After
and
we-
she
I-
was a previous holder of
I
that.
don't remember referring to her as a guy, but I do remember when the coverage of that was going on, and that was all, and it was like, oh, it's this huge thing. She's 82, and it's a woman, and she's going into space, and they wouldn't let her go into space before, and that was the only thing anybody wanted to talk about on the
when
news.
we talked about last time, at least me, I was like, and he. And
I would have done the same thing. I would have assumed the same thing.
Well, good luck to all of them if it does go up in about an hour, if they do go up into
Yes.
close to space. But
I
good
will,
job, William Shatner.
I've
Yeah.
got to have all of our fundraiser stuff up here, but I'm going to have the little thing. You're not going to be able to tell. For all we know, it could be a fake.
Let's say it might not even be him. Like,
It
how
could-
would we even know?
It could be some James Cameron or, somebody, some fancy director puts together this footage that looks so real. Even if it didn't look real, we would believe it. But I believe it's real. I'm just saying. I'm going to watch.
Like, we've never been to space.
No.
It's all fake. Just so everybody knows.
I'm just saying for all we know.
The Riot Podcast.
RadioU.
Now, what we saw yesterday, everybody talking about, is Disney finally put out the trailer for their new Home Alone movie. It's called Home Sweet Home Alone.
Actually, Izzy texted us right when we got in this morning, wanted to know what we thought. And so I was like, we're going to talk about it later. So hopefully, Izzy, you're still around.
So we've all watched it, right?
Yeah, we watched the trailer.
We've all got Disney Plus. We'll all be ready to watch it, potentially watch the. We'll have the option of watching the movie when it comes
you
out.
have Disney Plus?
Yes, I have Disney Plus.
Do you pay for Disney Plus?
Nikki, I don't pay for anything. Why would I pay for that?
Does your mom pay for your Disney Plus?
Which is how I prefer it.
That's the right way to do it.
Exactly.
That's how we all prefer it.
That is the smartest way to do that.
So, first thoughts on Home Sweet Home Alone, the trailer.
So it's supposed to be, it's not like a prequel or anything. Or
It is
like
a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Based off of did you catch that Buzz McAllister is one of the police officers in the movie? So they're bringing him back. It's actually, I think it's the same actor.
Okay.
So Buzz McAllister, all grown up, he becomes a police officer. I don't know that he plays a major role in the movie.
But he's in there.
He's in there.
They allude to that in the trailer to show that this is the same universe as the original Home Alone.
Oh, it's the cinematic universe.
Yeah, the Home Alone cinematic universe. Yeah.
I don't know. Isaiah, what do you think?
I think it's trash.
Trash.
Just trash.
Based off of what?
Disney
Based off of
trash.
what?
See, I think it's trash because there's never been like a sequel that's came out like this far later that's ever been good.
Well, there's been what about
Hudson
Blade
says
Runner?
challenge accepted.
What about Blade Runner 2049?
Never saw Blade Runner.
Well, then how can you say?
What do you mean? I haven't seen every movie.
Hold on. What about Mad Max Fury Road?
Now wait,
Never seen.
Now wait, you're getting sidetracked.
What are
from
these-
the
what are these
Home
movies
Alone
anyway?
one. Well, for that, Hudson, a lot of people said those were not good.
Well, look
Nobody said
there.
Mad Max Fury Road is one of the universally beloved movies.
No, it's not.
What?
It is too.
I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even describe one part of that. What movie you're talking
You
about? I
guys
have no
hate
idea.
movies.
You would
You
know.
hate
You would know if you
movies.
saw it.
Anyways, that is a weak argument.
What do you mean that's a weak argument?
There are movies that
I watched the trailer and I just wasn't
give
impressed.
it a fair chance on its own merits. Give the trailer a fair chance on its own merits.
Maybe around Christmas it'll be better. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you'll feel.
a little more
That's whatever.
Christmassy time.
That's how we're all going to talk ourselves into it. I'm not going to defend the trailer on the trailer's face because I saw it and I have a lot of problems with it. For one, the kid is too old.
Sure.
Two,
Yep.
in the first Home Alone, like with Kevin McAllister, he's the bandits. They're actually threatening. It's like, oh, they could actually hurt him. This is Aaron from The Office and Rob Delaney. They're not going to hurt this 12-year-old. He's going to be fine. He doesn't need to shoot pool balls at their face. I mean, call the police. You're a child. It's 2021. You have a phone.
Yeah.
It's not the 1980s. You can just call the police.
Oh, a good call on that one.
You have to have a trusted neighbor or something that you could go over to. The holes in the first movie are only exaggerated as time goes on.
Sure, that's a good way to put
That
it.
is a good way to put it.
And so although as much as I know
And
that
when you were young and you saw like Home Alone stuff, you would believe it because you were younger. And
Yeah.
For
now
me, it was scary. It was just a scary movie. It was a scary movie.
yeah.
And I wanted mac and cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the several things
and more of
about
the
it.
pizza too.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think
So that's
as
a
mu-
no and a no?
Perfect. We agree. It's
No,
trash.
I
Okay,
know
move
that-
along.
There's a great chance that we'll wind up watching it since it'll be free on Disney Plus and we're paying for it anyways. We might as well. But I also would like to point out I like a lot of the actors in it. I wish that it looked good, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing to remember is, especially as less things go to theaters and more things just go to our streaming service, when writing for a movie that's released on a streaming service, the writing's different, the lighting's different, the sets are different,
Yeah.
the budget is different. And so we're just seeing every movie that's being pushed to us is really that style. And for those that like to go see movies in theaters, it's a lower quality.
Yep.
And it's not really a target for us. But I bet we'll enjoy it. It just won't be. It won't be amazing.
Enjoy is a strong word based off of the trailer.
Just for those of us that have to pay for Disney Plus on our own.
I've seen this. I've seen this movie before. Remember when Disney put out that when Disney Plus was first new and it came out that other Christmas movie where it was in Arizona and it was Anna Kendrick.
Oh yeah,
it was the worst. Well, and I thought,
here we are again.
And this is Disney has realized that we have this streaming service. We can be Hallmark. We can put out the trashiest Christmas movies and people will watch it because it has the Disney name and because they just will watch anything Christmas.
This is The Riot. Radio U.
Now, there's this girl in the news, although Nikki says that she's seen her on TikTok ages ago.
Yeah, I think she had the procedure done, so like last June, so not this summer, but I think the year before maybe. But yeah, she's the one who has the implant in her hand so she can open up doors in her house.
Yep, she's called Chip Girl.
Yeah, that's it.
She has a chip in her hand, but not a potato chip like we would.
Or a chip on her shoulder.
Nope, she's got a RFID chip in her hand. Because I don't know the because. Just
open up the doors.
Keys are inconvenient?
Yes, because the only time she makes it on the For You page is when people are like, why do you have that? And she's like, this, and she opens the door.
But, okay, so you've seen her before. It sounds like you've seen her several times. Does it only work around her house to open? And what, the doors just magically go open like it's Star Trek or what?
Yeah, she just has it set up for like cabinets and doors and stuff, and you just wave your hand in front of it.
Why do you have a cabinet locked?
Well, I don't know.
What is there, liquor in them or something?
Is it a gun cabinet? I don't know. Okay, let's just focus on the doors.
Okay, when I first saw this idea, I actually weirdly am definitely in favor of it. I just think it would need to be for like what you would actually normally use keys for, as in my car and my house door. I don't care about all that other stuff. And I don't even need the door to magically swing open. I just need not to carry my keys around because I don't know if you know this, Nikki. I'm a man. I don't carry no purse. I can't be having.
Where's your man bag?
I'm not doing that.
You don't do that.
A purse would be, even though it would be less things I would have to put in my pocket. It'd be another thing I would have to carry, which I don't want. I want to carry as little things as possible.
Yeah.
And I hate having my keys because I'm like, they're pokey and inconvenient, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up like Andy Bernard doing the splits on The Office one day. So I'm going to get too excited dancing and things are going to go awry.
Maybe when the fundraiser's over and you get so excited. And happy.
So I would just prefer if I could just unlock my car, start my car, and unlock my house front door with a chip in my hand. I'm all for it.
Well, the problem, though, is a lot of places, depending on where you live at, especially for apartments, you might have the keypads already.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need to go through the hand thing.
That's true.
But instead, you just put in your code.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it'd be cool. It'd be futuristic. I don't know.
Now, see,
you're right. Fine. A keypad is more convenient.
And what I can do is I can tell Siri, I can tell it to open up my door. So I can also just talk to my door.
No, that's creepy, though.
Oh, yeah. But the chip in the hand, that's fine.
The chip can't listen to me at all times.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't.
To you.
Yeah, it can't. It's not like it can read all of my vital signs and stuff like that at all times.
Actually, what this lady needs to realize is we very rarely, I don't go through my front door and I don't do a lot of these things that she's doing. So I don't even need to get in the door.
Yeah, I need to work on alternative methods of entering and exiting things that don't involve me carrying a sharp metal object around.
Sounds like you need take your dog around and the dog, or you could just have an assistant or something, and that's their job. They'll carry all your stuff.
A guide dog?
No, you could even hire someone. You can have an assistant.
That's another thing for me to take care of. I don't want to take care of.
They take care of themselves.
Keep track of things. I just want to leave my house and return and not have to concern myself with forgetting anything.
Well, you tell me what works best, and we'll work towards that.
Right, I'm going to work on the
But if I see you have a scar on your hand, I'll be like, you got the surgery.
Oh, it'll blend right in. You won't even know. Plus, I've got I actually was looking at my knuckles the other day. Almost every finger has a scar on it. Yeah, I don't know what I did as I was growing up, but I chopped up my hands pretty good.
So no one will notice.
Yeah, it'll just fit right in.
If you're looking for hot takes on the day's most important news stories, you're in the wrong place. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
You know, there's those things that you see and you picture it in your mind and you think it would never happen in real life, but you wish you could be there if it did. Like somebody driving over one of the balls at Target.
Oh, the red one?
Yeah. Don't you always imagine, like I always see them and I'm like, what if somebody actually did drive into these things? Because it has to happen, right?
You and me might be different because
Really?
I don't know if I've ever thought about that, but you'd have to be pretty out of it to slam into one of those things, but I bet it does happen.
No, but you have to, there's a term for the effect that I'm talking about where in your mind, where you picture stuff that you would never do, but you wish you could know what would happen if you did. You know, like like driving over a Target ball, or I mean, like
I'm sure there's
a horrible example, but like if you're in an argument with a police officer. Picturing in your mind if you were in an argument with a police officer and you were to try to steal his gun. You know what I mean? Like that kind of insane stuff that normal people would never do, but in your mind you want to know like what would happen if it actually did happen.
Well, I think the Target ball might be a safer one.
That's a safer.
Your other option.
Well, you might think that. But
oh, I see the picture.
Yeah.
How did she do that? How's that even possible?
I know, that's what I was wondering too. I don't know how it was able to, because she's
on top of the ball.
She is on the ball. She is very.
If I was the police officer, I would have said that to her.
Her name is Michelle Wright. She's 49 years old. This is Holly Springs, North Carolina, and somehow it's wild that the car. It is the center of the car.
Yeah,
like the car almost could be teetering on top of the Target ball. And
that's my question. Like, how would you get enough? She must have been going pretty fast. How would you get enough
to get it to bounce up like that?
To get it to bounce onto the ball.
I don't know. She said,
and at 3 p.m.
Yeah, I wonder if it was before a Target shopping trip or after.
Well, it does say she was driving impaired, so that's probably why she got charged with driving while impaired and careless and reckless driving in connection to it. Because like at 3 p.m, I know Target can be intense sometimes for people, but. That is an amazing thing that she managed to do with her car.
Yeah, when I picture people driving into the Target ball, when I've done this in my mind, when I pictured myself doing it, I would just think your car would crumple. You know, well, they seem so heavy that it would really. Your car wouldn't withstand the impact, but hers did.
I guess I thought differently. I thought the ball would start rolling. Like it would
you think
away.
It would dislodge?
I think it would. But
be like an Indiana Jones moment.
Yes. And it goes down to like we have a Target that has a Lowe's next to it. It would just go down to the Lowe's, and then someone would have to roll it back.
It's downhill. Yeah.
It is, but it feels like it's even weirder because she backed out and then accelerated and backed over the ball.
Right. So she was going reverse, like it's a demolition derby. So maybe that's what she was thinking.
I don't know how that's even possible, but then her car is just stuck on the ball at the Target.
Well, I wish I could have been there to see it. Don't you?
Well, at least we have all this video and pictures. It feels like we can.
Yeah, it almost feels like we were really there. So now I guess I don't have to question anymore what would happen.
You know what will.
I have pictures that at least give me some idea. Although I still want to see what happens if you go from the front.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
We've got a wedding dress hunt on the horizon. I don't know. We need to find the owner of a wedding dress.
Someone lost one?
The search is on. Yeah, this is in the Frisco, Texas area where the North Texas Tollway Authority found a wedding dress that was all boxed up on the side of the road on July 23rd, last Friday night. And they still don't know who is the owner or why it was on the side of the road. And so they're putting out, is it an APB? They want to find the owner.
They want social media to do its job.
Yeah.
And try to figure out who, and most importantly, everybody just wants to know probably the details why.
Yeah.
Like, was the window open and someone knocked it out? Did you have a fight and you threw it out and you're not getting married anymore? Like, did you break up?
It says, according to the story, I think that it was all boxed up, so it doesn't look like somebody just
like it
accidentally found it.
Sure.
You know, or no, it doesn't look like somebody accidentally dropped it out of their car.
Well, no, you could have, like, say you picked it up from the store or something and it was all boxed up. Or it could have been an older dress from someone who had already got married and they're divorcing and they threw it out the car.
That's what I feel is more likely. I think that it was intentionally maybe left behind because I think they also
it's
said
a statement dress.
even though it is boxed up, it looks like it might be. Oh, yes. The documents inside the packaging revealed that the dress was boxed more than 20 years ago.
So it's an old one.
Yeah, so it could be from an old painful memory that somebody's just trying to leave behind.
No,
and now the North Texas Tollway Authority is just bring it back up.
No, okay, this makes sense. It's a wedding dress TikTok thing.
Okay.
The trend is to recently go find like your mom or someone who has their old wedding dress and then to see what it looks like, how modern or how well it would work now.
Okay.
Even if you weren't getting married, the trend is to like unbox it and stuff.
Okay.
So maybe someone was going to do that and the mom was like driving it over. and it
fell out?
Yeah, I think falling out plays into this somehow.
No, I think it was intentional.
You ever have all your windows down and you just know something
and a box just flies out the window?
You could have been like,
a box containing an entire wedding dress.
Like, what's over there? And then poof, and it goes right out the window.
A real big gust.
I don't know how you drive, Hudson, but it's possible.
I think maybe if it was hanging on the hanger thing that's in the back seat.
It could have.
And it gets like sucked out like with the air pressure, but I don't think a box. It's just going to up it. I mean, if it was a truck, maybe it fell out of the back of a truck.
Well, it could be. I don't know why you're thinking it's not, but they're saying that they're going to hold the dress for 90 days in Texas. After that, remember we talk about those auction sites, the government ones where it's like all these like forklift and airplanes and wedding dresses.
Yep.
It'll be auctioned off along with other abandoned property that's fallen out of people's cars.
There you go. If you can, if you're getting married a little over 90 days from now, you can get a steal of a deal on a wedding dress.
I don't know.
With a real story behind it.
It's 20 years old, so I'm looking at
vintage.
It is.
It's retro.
It's a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
One more thing to remind you that you might have thought we all knew. That is, you shouldn't mow your lawn with fire.
Was that ever a way? Like, you ever see it was viral like several years ago to get off like the split ends of your hair. Sometimes these hairdressers would do this fire thing with it. But I always thought at the heart of that is the chance for all your hair to catch on fire. So I didn't know, like, is there ever a mowing trick to take the edge off of your lawn?
I didn't know that there was. I don't think there actually is. I think this was just one dumb guy.
Who wanted to do a fast way to get rid of his lawn.
He's in British Columbia in Canada, which makes this extra bad because out west, particularly, there's
all the fires.
It's a burn ban, and there's been some extreme wildfires burning and an extreme risk for more to be started. But this guy decided that he didn't want to mow. Now, apparently, this is specifically the tall grass. It wasn't just like his green yard.
Okay.
But it was the tall, longer grass. And he didn't want to have to go through the trouble of mowing it, which we've all been there. But what he did instead was light it on fire. It sounds like he had it kind of controlled, but
firefighters had to eventually, like, they were the ones who finally put it out.
Yeah.
He lost control.
But he was monitoring it and whatever was taking place. And the Coast Guard or whatever they call it there, in Canada near the ferry terminal, because that's where his house was, they noticed that, and passengers on the ferries had noticed that there was a large fire from the water. So they called the authorities, the firefighters who went and confronted the guy, put out the fire, and wound up issuing him a fine of over $1,000.
And again, you're like, well, what's the big deal? Because that area is under a burn ban. Because it's so dry and hot. If you decided to start your own fire, it might just really get away from you. Because everything is so dry that you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So that's why you got the fine.
One thing neighbors don't like is a big, large, uncontrolled fire.
Yeah, I know. That's true. That is a good point.
When I used to live in Maryland, and I was out in way out, the neighbor, giant yards, neighbors weren't especially close to you, a lot of farms and stuff. But the one thing people would complain about is if we got a fire going too big in our backyard.
Everybody would always say something.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, we never got the firefighters called on us, but all of a sudden, the neighbors start coming over, and it's not like, hey, I brought some marshmallows. It's like, hey,
what are you doing?
Watch out with that thing. It's pretty tall. So.
Well, in this case, too, you wouldn't want, you would want them to say something, but, if your neighbors tattled on you. But in this case, everybody from the ferries in the area, the boats, they could actually see the fire. So that's when they called and had people come over so that the firefighters could put out it.
So just a helpful reminder. I know mowing isn't a lot of fun, but
neither is a
$1,000 fine.
fine. That's no fun either.
You could have just hired somebody to mow for that much.
You could have. You could have hired someone to mow for the whole mowing season and still been under the fine.
And if it's so dry there, you probably don't even need to mow. The grass can't be growing that much.
Yeah, you're right. But that's what he decided to do. Just the wrong choice.
Live and learn.
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on Radio U.
I brought Isaiah on for this one as well, Mr. News and Traffic, because Nikki, I know you're a dog owner.
I am.
But I know you don't like to walk your dogs.
Well, I have a fence, so they like to free themselves out there.
And I find it hard to believe that even if you did walk your dogs, you wouldn't be really interested in picking up their poop.
Probably not, but you should as a responsible dog owner.
Yeah, you should. I just can't imagine you personally picking it up.
That's an Eric thing.
Yeah, right. But Isaiah,
You're right
have
to check
a dog.
with Isaiah.
So I want to get your opinion on this because I was out, and this happens to me all the time, walking my dog yesterday. And, of course, she goes to the bathroom, and it's always, right near the beginning of the walk. And so then it's like, do you walk around with the dog poop in your bag, just carrying it and let it swing around the whole time? Or is it okay when somebody's got their trash can left out at the side of the road, can you just drop it in a stranger's trash can? Their dumpster.
So you're wondering about the etiquette of that?
Man. Yeah, is that bad?
I'll lean towards Isaiah on what he thinks first.
First of all,
with his little dog Jim.
Yeah.
Very little poops from Jim. So I don't feel as bad if I do that, but I think that is definitely wrong.
You think it's wrong?
Yes.
Why? Someone else's trash can?
It's garbage. It's what the garbage can is for.
But it's going to smell up the whole thing. The next time someone opens that thing up to throw something in there, they're going to be like, what is in there?
What are they expecting? Their trash can to smell good?
Now, do you want it to be before trash pickup or?
If it is trash night, which was 2 nights ago, everything is fair game.
I think that's true.
Yeah, but if they leave their trash can out and it's like last night, 24 hours later.
But then you're putting it in their empty trash can.
It's a fresh trash can.
Yeah, but obviously they don't care that much because they've let their trash can sit out for at least 24 hours.
They could be busy.
Then they're too busy to smell the dog poop.
Oh, man.
Did you want to ask them?
Would it be better if I also brought their trash can back to the side of the house?
That might just be disrespectful.
Now that would be weird because they're like, is he taking our trash can? What's he doing?
I bring this up to you because I think this is safe because if I posted this on Nextdoor or the Facebook community forum or something, which that everybody, that would be a huge argument.
Oh, yeah.
There would be a big divide. And I think my feeling is that other dog owners would understand. So sometimes I'm walking by houses and I see they have a dog and I'm like, I And they're like, the people are outside, and I'm like, I almost think they might just call me over and say, hey, is that dog poop? Just drop it right in.
Or if not, are you thinking they'll just have you leave it in the yard? Like, is that your dog or my dog?
Yeah, you could just slip it in there. They won't even know.
I don't know.
So you don't do that then.
The trash can it's a personal property thing. I'm not sure.
I think it would be acceptable if you felt comfortable doing it if you can see them. Like if they're looking through their window and you feel comfortable to open it up and be like, drop it in there and know that they saw you do it, then you can do it. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you shouldn't do it.
That is a great point. Outside of the eye contact of doing that without knowing the person and you're just staring at them while you do it, that almost feels aggressive. But that's true. I've had people where I could see that they were looking out the window and their trash can was at the curb. And I specifically avoided those ones because I was like, what if it caused an argument? So I guess I don't so firmly believe that you should be able to do it.
So did you put it in someone's trash can?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Hudson.
I do it. I just don't know if I should feel bad about it.
Oh, you just want to know?
Yeah.
Well, feel free to text and let Hudson know. Is he a monster? Does he need shamed or is he just fine?
I do think, though, that the majority of the time when the trash can is out at the curb and it's not actually trash day, I just assume that's people that aren't actually there. They're on vacation.
So they won't even see
Yeah, they won't even notice. And what are the odds that they have a Ring doorbell and they're going to recognize me and chase me down?
They'll come back after vacation and find you.
Text in with your opinion, 8772 RadioU. I really want to know.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at radiou.com/donate.